help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Tonight, Joe Biden officially sworn in as the 46th President of the United States, declaring today is America's Day and that democracy has prevailed.
We celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded.
Also, Kamala Harris becomes the first woman, first Asian American, and first African American to ever hold the role of Vice President, opening up a new chapter in US political history. We'll have all the reaction and the end of an era. Donald Trump leaves the White House after 4 years, but he's still vowing to return.
Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And a very good evening to you. Welcome to this special edition of 6 News on this Thursday evening. Joe Biden is the 46th President of the United States of America. He was officially sworn in just before 12 p.m. local time today, 4 a.m. on Australia's East Coast, in an unprecedented ceremony that was under a lot of tight security due to fears of another attack on the Capitol. But it was mostly peaceful. Well, not mostly peaceful, it was peaceful. We didn't see any riots, and we also know that authorities had been really ramping up those safety efforts in just the 48 hours before the official ceremony, with the FBI vetting members of the National Guard due to fears of an insider attack. But again, there was none of that. The ceremony went completely as planned. Here's the moment Joe Biden was sworn in as the president.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
So what you just saw there was the exact moment Joe Biden was sworn in as the 46th president. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has made history herself, becoming the first woman, first Asian American, and first African American to become the vice president, opening up a whole new chapter in US political history. She was escorted there by Capitol Police Officer Eugene Goodman, who single-handedly took on a mob of Trump supporters as they breached the Senate floor during the Capitol siege. Harris was also wearing clothes from two young emerging black designers, a deep purple dress and a coat you can see there. It has been a massive day and there really is a lot to unpack. Here's our US correspondent Jackson Gosnell with the latest developments.
Well, Leo, President Biden and Vice President Harris were sworn in on Inauguration Day. President Trump, of course, did not like that they were voted into office. He said the election was stolen, and in his farewell address before heading to his home in Florida, he said that it was just the beginning and that his supporters would be seeing more of him soon. He said that he had left the resources to make the Biden team have a great success in the White House. He says pretty much there's no reason that they shouldn't succeed in the White House. He did say that he wished President Biden the best of luck. Now, it is common practice for presidents to leave a note in the desk of the Oval Office for the incoming president. We do know that President Trump left a note for Biden. However, the contents of that note have yet to be revealed. President Biden saying that he did not want to reveal those contents to the media until he had an opportunity to speak with former President Trump. Now, we do know at this time from the new White House press secretary, there is no scheduled phone call right now between former President Trump and President Biden, but they may speak. And of course, once that happens, that note could then be made public. We did have a briefing from the new press secretary today, replacing Kayleigh McEnany under the Trump administration. She gave some logistics and some information about what will be happening over the course of the next few days, new policies, procedures, as well as executive orders. Biden did implement a mask mandate on federal property. in the United States. So every federal property will now be required to enforce mask requirements. There is also some new screening protocols for the press and other members of the White House. They now have to wear a wristband indicating that they tested negative for the virus. A lot going on here in America, and celebrations of this inauguration will continue. There was a very small crowd compared to other inaugurations, of course, due to the coronavirus. We at this point do not know how many people watched online. That number, though, will be very revealing in terms of the approval rating of a President Biden and how many people like him. Again, with widespread allegations of voter fraud that turned out to not actually hold up in court. But anyway, we'll see how it all turns out, and we'll be sure to bring you the very latest. I'm reporting in the United States. I'm Jackson Gosnell. Back to you.
And interestingly enough, Donald Trump, the now former president, actually held a rally just a few hours before his time in office expired. Take a look at some of what he had to say.
So just a goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. And again, I want to just, in leaving, I want to thank our Vice President, Mike Pence, and Karen. I want to thank Congress, because we really worked well with Congress, at least certain elements of Congress. But we really did. We've gotten so much done that nobody thought would be possible. But I do want to thank Congress. And I want to thank all of the great people of Washington, D.C. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Well, for 4 years, he's outraged, endeared, and undoubtedly changed the United States. To borrow a phrase from the man himself, it's been a term the likes of which the world has never seen before. Chief reporter Connor R. 4K looks back at the highs and the lows of the Trump presidency as a new administration is sworn in.
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. A whirlwind 4-year tenure for real estate mogul turned reality TV star turned US President Donald Trump. Call him what you will.
I'm a politician. I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
The 74-year-old is arguably the most talked about, the most controversial, most headline-making president ever to hold office. After an election campaign started with gaffes,
and when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the to do anything.
on a cold, damp January day 4 years ago, upheaval walked up the steps of the White House. Following his $107 million inauguration outside the Capitol building.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
As Trump was sworn in, the woman he defeated watched on, while groups of protesters clashed with police in some Washington streets, division marring his presidency from the beginning. But Donald Trump didn't wait to deliver on his key election promise.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built. It's not even, believe it or not, it's not even a difficult thing to do.
President Trump will this week leave office with a wall that's less than 50% complete and a relationship with North Korea that is similarly stalled. That's despite Trump making diplomatic history by sitting down with the North Korean leader not once but 3 times, the first sitting US president ever to step foot on North Korean soil. Then there was this bizarre declaration of love for the dictator.
And we would go back and forth, and then we fell in love. Okay? No, really. He wrote me beautiful letters.
Trump is also credited with the defeat of ISIS. Also on the foreign affairs front, Trump was criticized for his alleged links to Russia after Russian hackers reportedly leaked tens of thousands of emails from the Democrats in a political smear campaign that some say helped win him the 2017 election. He also withdrew the US from the Paris Climate Accord.
In order to fulfill my solemn duty to protect America and its citizens, the United States will withdraw from the Paris climate accord.
A decision which will be undone soon, with Joe Biden set to rejoin, according to his chief of staff, on the first day of his presidency. From the Black Lives Matter protests, a spiralling COVID situation and an economy in ruins, it's the events of the past year that will forever shape the billionaire's legacy. In 2020, he was accused of downplaying and mishandling the pandemic. Then he caught the virus himself and spread it to others.
I walked in, I didn't feel good. A short 24 hours later, I was feeling great. I wanted to get out of the hospital.
Trump entered the decade as only the third US president ever to be impeached over his alleged attempts to pressure Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden's family. The Senate later acquitted him of the charges. He entered 2021 in a similar fashion, impeached for inciting a deadly insurrection, after he doubled down on claims of voter fraud in the election he lost. Thousands of tweets and one-liners after Trump's inauguration, America is a nation forever changed. But as one presidency ends, another begins. Connor Alforque, 6 News.
Alright, I want to bring you up to speed with some more breaking news tonight. We understand that 3 soldiers have been killed after a military helicopter crashed in upstate New York just a few hours ago, according to the state's National Guard. This is what we're hearing from ABC News in the United States. The medical evacuation helicopter, which was based at the Army Aviation Support Facility at the Rochester International Airport, crashed while on a routine training mission. The helicopter going down at 6:32 p.m. local time, according to the Monroe County's Sheriff's Office. Multiple fire departments responding to the crash, as well as state police and representatives of the US military. The road near the site does remain closed tonight, but they have not determined a cause for the crash. We will have more developments on this story when we can. Now, in some more breaking news tonight, China has imposed sanctions on 28 American nationals, including some former members of the Trump administration. Those include former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, Peter Navarro, and Steve Bannon. Of course, he was just pardoned by the now former president. A statement from the Chinese Foreign Ministry reads in part, quote, "Over the past few years, some anti-China politicians in the United States, out of their selfish political interests and prejudice and hatred against China, and showing no regard for the interests of the Chinese and American people, have planned, promoted, and executed a series of crazy moves which have gravely interfered in China's internal affairs, undermined China's interests, offended the Chinese people, and seriously disrupted China-US relations. The Chinese government is firmly resolved to defend China's national sovereignty, security, and development interests." That was the statement from the Chinese Foreign Ministry. Of course, 28 American nationals now have sanctions imposed on them by that government, but we do know that includes 4 members of the Trump administration. Now, in even more breaking news tonight, of course, we didn't see any violence from the Trump supporters at the Capitol, but take a look at this vision. This does appear to be members of the Antifa movement, the left-wing movement, that is, being filmed smashing the windows of the Democratic Party's building in Portland, Oregon, with a lot of glass on the ground, as you can see in that vision there. We will update you on this story and all the other breaking stories when we get more information. And finally tonight, just a quick thank you to all the viewers. Normally do a thank you at the end of the bulletin anyway, but a special thank you. A lot of you did tune into our live coverage this morning. It began at 4 a.m. On Australia's East Coast, our local time, and finished up at around 6 a.m. If you couldn't have watched it live, I'm sure you would have checked out the replay by heading to the IGTV section of our Instagram page. It was a lot of effort to do all that, monitoring all those stories, especially at such an early hour in the morning, and working from home too. Now, if you're wondering, because you may have seen we did do coverage at like 12 a.m. on Twitter and other social platforms. No, I did not get any sleep. So 24 hours without sleep for me. So I'll probably be getting some shut-eye tonight. And Darby Travers, I can confirm he will be presenting 6 News Sunday evening, 7:45 p.m. So make sure you tune in there. For now, though, that is 6 News for this Thursday evening. Again, all the breaking news stories and other stories can be found by heading to our social media pages. Just search 6 News A to find us. We'll leave you now with images from Washington, D.C. on a historic day for the United States. For now, though, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.